So for today's movie review, I'll be reviewing the movie Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, the second film in the DC extended or cinematic universe, whatever the hell it's called. And I was already disappointed with the movie when the title was announced. Like, seriously, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice? I just think that's just a dumb idea in general to have a second movie be fucking The Dark Knight Returns. Granted, I'll get to that later, but the more I started to hear about this movie, from the various casting choices to the other characters and elements they were going to add to this film, my expectations went pretty fucking low. And essentially, I had no interest in seeing this movie, but I decided to see it anyways. And what are my thoughts on the movie? As for the plot of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, after the events of Man of Steel and Superman saving Lois Lane from a few terrorists, which I'll get to later, the world is now questioning whether or not Superman's doing more harm than good, which leads to Batman coming to the conclusion that he needs to put Superman in his place or stop him before he causes any further damage, while there's a few other subplots going on revolving around Lex Luthor and Wonder Woman. This movie, in regards of pacing and action scenes, was an improvement over Man of Steel, because with Man of Steel, it's a 2-hour fight scene, the pacing was all over the place, and had horrific editing from one scene to another. This here, it still has the horrific editing from one scene to another, but the pacing was a lot better this time around because there was a lot more breathing space. As far as the casting goes, Ben Affleck as Batman is interesting because his Bruce Wayne, I think, is okay. Batman, on the other hand, again, interesting because he still has the same mannerisms that you expect out of Batman, but this one kills a lot of people, which is a problem I had with. Granted, I know that the Michael Keaton version killed a lot of people too, but I feel like the kill ratio with that version was 50% of them were killed on purpose while the other 50% were accidental. This one here just kills people left and right. And granted, I know they're trying to base this version of Batman off the one that appears in the Dark Knight Returns graphic novel, but even then, I thought that particular version of Batman was more brutal, but not to the point of killing people. Jeremy Irons as Alfred is just great, because I like this depiction of Alfred in the sense that he's not a butler, he's more of the best friend slash assistant of Bruce Wayne. I also like how this Alfred has a lot more sass than previous movie incarnations. Diana in this movie, in terms of introducing the character, I thought that was cool. Just, I feel the personality of said character was underutilized. Then you have Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, or Lex Luthor Jr. I actually like the fact that they call him Jr. in this movie because this just tells me that Warner Brothers and DC went, oh, we apologize for casting Jesse Eisenberg as Lex, but it's still Jesse Eisenberg as Lex. It's as bad as you think it is. Because, to me, the character was basically some douchebag who happened to graduate college majoring in Greek philosophy and having a minor in science. That's what I get out of the character. Because when I think of Lex Luthor, I think of this big and powerful man in an intellectual sense. Like, if they were decided to recast Lex Luthor with someone like Bryan Cranston, I think the character would have been a lot better. As is, Jesse Eisenberg is easily the worst character in this entire movie. As far as Clark Kent and Lois Lane go, they do their parts okay. It's just, I feel with the Lois Lane character, they try to give her some extra things to do, and I didn't really feel she was necessary. Also, another thing that I liked about this movie, this was the first time we've ever gotten the chance to see both Batman and Superman on the same screen together, because out of any of the superheroes that get the most reboots, it's Superman and Batman that get the most reboots. So, having a movie where they both meet each other, I think was a cool idea. And I do like the fact that this was also the movie that introduced the Big Three. So that's a cool scene in and of itself. And the action scenes, like I said, they're okay. It's just some are great while others weren't as good. For example, one of my favorite action scenes is actually the beginning where you see Bruce Wayne just driving through Metropolis during the events of Man of Steel. And it's intense as all hell. It's just some of the other fight scenes were lackluster. Oh, and as far as the actual fight between Batman and Superman goes, it's one of two things. One, it's really underwhelming because of the second reason. It's just so one-sided. Because at first, okay, it's basically Superman beating the shit out of Batman, but then Batman uses some kryptonite, and it's basically just Batman beating the shit out of Superman from there on out. It was just like, really? That's the big fight? I wasn't impressed by it. Oh, and this movie has a lot of plot holes. Like, I think one of the big ones is, how the hell did Lex Luthor figure out who Clark Kent was? Because at one point in the movie, you see Clark Kent's mother get abducted by Lex's men. Then all of a sudden, Superman approaches Lex Luthor. He's just like, oh, by the way, I got your mother kidnapped. And it was just like, really? How the hell did he know he was Superman? Maybe in the extended edition, maybe they might explain it there, but the way I see it, they did not explain it properly. It just came out of nowhere. Oh, I don't like the fact that Lex Luthor was the one to manipulate the fight between the two. Also, this movie is just plagued with strange moments. Like, one of them involving a bathtub, two of them involving horses, which is a weird element to bring from the comics, if I might add. And a couple of them revolve around Bruce Wayne's dreams. Like, this movie was just plagued with strange moments. This movie tries way too much with its story because, on one hand, it's a follow-up to the Man of Steel. Then it tries to be a setup for the Justice League movie. Then it tries to be the Dark Knight Returns. Then it tries to be the death of Superman. Granted, in terms of the way they paced out these elements was fine. It's just, again, I feel like if they just focused on one story and stuck with it, I think we could have had a good movie here. I have to talk about that desert scene that I mentioned at the beginning of the movie, because well, if you watch the trailers, it's implied that because of the events of Man of Steel, people debate whether or not Superman's doing more harm than good, which makes a whole lot of sense. But really, the big event that kickstarts this whole entire movie is Superman saving Lois Lane from a terrorist. And while that's going on, Lex Luthor's men kind of show up, kill all the other terrorists and people in that village. It's just like, really? That's the big kicker to this movie? Not Superman fighting some supervillain like, I don't know, Atomic Skull or something? That would have made a lot more sense. But Superman getting framed for something he didn't do? Just, what? It just never made sense to me. Oh, and they dedicate about 20 minutes to this entire point in this movie, because the actual scene itself is like about 5 minutes, and they spend maybe like an extra 15 talking about Superman battling a terrorist. It was fucking weird. It was totally pointless, because we already know who set Superman up. So what's the point of just dwelling on this? I just saw no point in it. Then you have Doomsday. Oh. I don't really like the fact that he's in this movie, because I feel that should have been a movie in and of itself. Hell, I would have been okay if that was like the reason why the Justice League formed in the first place was because of Doomsday, but no, he's basically the reason why Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman joined forces. That's it. I mean, granted, if there was one thing I did like about him is that, one, he's fucking huge, and second, over the course of the three of them battling him, he slowly protrudes the spikes. But even then, he just looks like a cave troll with a few bumps here and there. It just didn't spell Doomsday to me. Hell, I just say Photoshop job's done better than this. Like, I would have been okay if, the secondary antagonist was someone like the Joker or Metallo. I think that would have been a much better result. Just, again, I thought the Doomsday card was played a bit early. And now I have to talk about my initial reason for not being interested in this movie in the first place, because as soon as they announced the title, I was like, really? Are we really going in that direction? I thought this was just DC and Warner Brothers going, oh, we need to play catch up with Marvel, because if you look at what Marvel's doing with their cinematic universe, later this year, it's Captain America Civil War, which is basically Captain America and a bunch of superheroes battling against Iron Man and a bunch of other superheroes. Now, at least in the context of those movies, we've had time to get to know and love these characters. This here? Okay, this is literally the first time Batman met Superman, and the first thing they're doing is gotta fight one another. And also, this is supposed to be the reason why the Justice League is formed. It just seems really weird to me. Because, at least in the context of the original graphic novel, okay, granted, yeah, that graphic novel was a standalone story, but when you read it, in the context of that story, Batman and Superman have this history. Like, you even get it through their dialogue. This year, they're Really, I just thought the two of them fighting against each other was just a dumb idea in the first place. Having a movie where Batman and Superman together, cool idea. Just, I wouldn't necessarily have the two of them fight against each other. Like, hell, I would have been okay if Warner Brothers decided to base this movie off the original animated movie from the late 90s, early 2000s, because in that movie, this was the first time Superman and Batman met each other. And not only did you get Batman and Superman, you also had them battling against both Lex Luthor and the Joker. That, in and of itself, sounds like a much better idea for a live-action movie than what this was trying to do. So for my final verdict of Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, even though the movie has a lot of stuff in it that I did not want to see in the film, as a movie, I think the film was alright. I don't think it's as bad as the critics say, but again, the movie is just alright. And at the end of the day, if you want to watch a movie where Batman beats the shit out of Superman, watch The Dark Knight Returns Parts 1 and 2. If you want to watch a movie where Batman and Superman actually first meet, watch the Superman Batman animated feature from back in the day. Or if you just want to watch Batman and Superman join forces and fight various supervillains, just watch the Public Enemies movie in Apocalypse. And before we give my final rating of the movie, what did everyone else have to say about the film? Looks like a lot of people have mixed opinions on this movie. So, from a final rating of Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, I give it 2.5 out of 5. So, out of the movies coming out in the DC extended or cinematic universe, whatever the hell it's called, what movie are you looking forward to, and see you later?